All right, here we are. We're back with EUDL. This is semifinals, so we're gonna see how this goes. This opponent I haven't played before. Last playoff round was against somebody I'd already played, but this is a new opponent, so we'll jump into their team. This team's actually pretty scary. He's got the Thievel that I wanted, but there's a couple other stuff in this team that is really intimidating. So we're gonna go through his team, and then we'll go through my team, kind of like we usually do around here. His first pick is Altaria. Um, Now this thing I've actually used in like regular draft before as like a Terra captain. Obviously you can't Terra because it's like a 15, 16 point mon, but like its bulk is pretty solid, and then like attack stats aren't bad either. You get D-Dance, you get, dual stabs, defog, toxic strats. You get a lot of stuff with Altaria. And that speed tier is nothing to laugh at all. So it kind of does a lot of things pretty well. Um, so yeah, expect either like a roost toxic kind of like defog bulk set, or you could see like a D-Dance try and super type set, and that's stuff we got to scout for because if we are gonna bring Arcorio, we have Dancer, right? So if we're scouting for D-Dance, then we can catch him with that, and then if we're plus speed, then that's really good for us. Then there's Rhydon. This thing is as much of a menace as it is in regular drafts. The only thing is it can't Terra, so it keeps its quad weaknesses. Um, but you still get I guess you're not using Lightning Rod. Like I have Togedemaru, but you're not using Lightning Rod. So you could see like Reckless, like Head Smash, like that's a bold set, but it's definitely something that could happen. Um, but this thing just has like disgusting bulk, a really high attack stat, and then can hold Eviolite, right? Because it evolves into Rhyperior. Its base stats are actually like really solid for low tier. Um, yeah, it's super slow, but with this much bulk, it really doesn't matter. Uh, the only like I'm gonna try and abuse its four times weaknesses to get through it, but you could always throw like Pasho or Rindoberry on there. You lose a lot of the EV light bulk, but if that's what you're really worried about, you can 100% do that. Then there's Zebstrika. This thing's speed stat is disgusting. So much so that Scarf from Pardos is cannot be faster than this thing. This thing will always be faster than a Scarf from Pardos, or it can be. Um, and the discrepancy is very big between this and Cryogonal, but Cryogonal does force plus speed, right? So we can anticipate plus speed Zeb. If it is plus speed, it's probably only going to be like, 340, 341, like around that range. Just to put a bunch of stats elsewhere because Zebstrika likes to go mixed when you have your coverage moves like Flamethrower, or I guess Overheat, not Flamethrower, and then you get like high horsepower, smart strike, flame charge. Or I guess you have overheat, so you don't really need flame charge. But this thing gets good physical and special moves, right? So you like to have some special like mixed invest if you can, and if you don't want to put everything into speed, you're gonna see some mixed invest. Um, all these abilities kind of just take moves and take moves. But I'm not bringing Quilladin, and Togedemaru's not really fighting this thing, so those abilities shouldn't come into play too much, but we'll see what happens. Then you got Magmar. Now, this thing can also hold an Eviolite, which is really upsetting because that bulk is really good and its coverage is really good. If you watched Little Cup, you'll remember Magby is like a demon. But right, this thing gets good special moves, right? Psychic, Focus Blast, Scorch Sands, Overheat. But you can also run Elemental Punches, Cross Chop, Poison Jab. Like this thing gets so much coverage, and when you throw Eviolite on it, it just has so much longevity that it's actually like kind of a problem. And 93 speed is very good. I do have some mons that are faster than it or speed tie with it, but it's a very fast mon and can be very intimidating. Then you got Samurott. Now this is always a really good mon in low tier because it's got really good stats, right? It's a starter, so it has like between like I guess it's not quite 530, but like it's around 530, which is something you don't see too often. Out of some low tier mons, like right, a lot of these mons barely crack 500. or like just underneath it, whereas Samurott sits at like 530. You get Shell Armor, which is like a good ability to have, especially if you're an unlucky player, or you get Torrent, right? And then this obviously doesn't get like Ceaseless Ledge, but you get like SD, a bunch of physical moves. You could always go special with Ice Beam, priority with Vacuum Wave. Surprisingly good amount of coverage. Like Samurai's just a very solid mon, decently bulky, gets flip turn, all that kind of stuff. Um, so yeah, it's a pretty solid mon. Speed tier's not bad either, kind of right in the middle. Um, yeah. Then you got Meganium, who is good for similar reasons, right? Has that high base stat total, which you don't see too often. Has a really good bulk. Its only weakness is that it's just a grass type. Like it gets screens, although can't hold likely because that's banned. But um, it gets screens. But it only gets like grass moves. It only gets like leech seed, like grass type utility. Um, like I don't even think it gets Dazzling Gleam. Um, no, like it gets AP. That's its only coverage. Its only special coverage. You could see like physical Meganiums with like EQ, Iron Tail, Zen. Um, but yeah, Meganium, if it's coming, I don't anticipate like it might come because I have a few mons that are weak to grass. But if it's coming, it's probably just going to be here to set screens, maybe throw a leech seed or something like that. That's kind of just what the mon does. Um, abilities are pretty bad. Like Leaf Guard, I don't even remember what it does. I'm pretty sure it's something about in the sun, but unless she's bringing Sunny Day Magmar, that's not really gonna matter. Then there's Bronzor. This thing is another Eviolite user. This guy really likes his Eviolite users. This thing is here. It sets rocks. It can also set screens. Um, right? So if you're bringing a screen setter, you're probably bringing Bronzor because it's bulkier. It has Levitate, so it actually has an immunity. You can bring it in on pretty consistently if you know how to do that. Um, right? And it's just got like surprisingly like better bulk when you throw Eviolite on. Um, but yeah, this thing it's gonna be 9 times out of 10 you're gonna see levitate. Probably not gonna see heat proof against me because I have no fire types. Like I think the only fire moves you have to be worried about is like Terrafire Fion or like Fire Punch Rampardos. So he's probably going to be levitate when I have stuff like Marsh Stomp, Quilladin likes to run ground moves, Edgequake on Rampardos. So you're probably going to see levitate on that thing over heat proof. Then you got Thievul, which should have been mine. I wanted this mon so bad, but alas, I didn't get it. It's very similar to Morgrem, but in my opinion, better at everything. Um, it is a Terra Captain. It can Terra. Its abilities are so much better, right? With Stakeout, that ability's broken, and then you can also run like Unburden. This guy did do a Throat Spray Snarl Unburden set, and actually won him his quarterfinal game. So you got to watch for Unburden, but also Stakeout. Just like if you switch, you take double damage. So that's also a really scary ability. Its stats aren't like super great, but it's got good, like surprisingly good special bulk. It's decently fast, and you get like parting shot, all knockoff, all that kind of dark type disruption stuff. And then as well, you can Terra into anything, so you don't really have those dark type weaknesses. And then you get access to coverage moves if you need, right? And with this team, that's gonna be very helpful. Then there's Pinsir. This one is really scary. I'm fairly confident it's going to be Scarf. Obviously, it's going to be like a Moxie set because I don't have any kind of Intimidate. And even if I did, like this guy's played, I think he's played against like a Gramble before, and he brings Moxie because why would you not? Um, and also there's like no abilities on my team for you to break through. Like there's no reason to be Mold Breaker. Um, so yeah. So Pinsir, I'm fairly confident it's going to be Scarf because if you look, like it gets like EQ, CC, Rock Slide, like it's moves to hit all three of these mons that are faster than it. And if you're going for a Moxie sweep, you want to be able to like be faster than those mons. So I'm fairly confident he's going to be Scarf. If he is Scarf, I can punish it. If he goes something like Sash, he could catch us like a surprise kill. This thing is really scary. It's one of the mons I'm scared the most about. Because it just gets so much coverage and it hits so hard. Like 125 attack is like really good when you consider the amount of coverage it gets. Like this thing's coverage is disgusting. X's are close combat, EQ, Stone Edge, knockoff, outrage, um, and then yeah, you can always just throw like a normal. But you have like six coverage moves to choose from, and they hit really wide, right? He has Edgequake if you wanted to. You get Edgequake plus Bug Stab. Like this thing hits like everything. Um, and then last but not least is Tentacool. Now this thing has its niche. You can set spikes with it, or not spikes, T spikes. You can set T spikes with it. It's a spinner. It can hold Eviolite, be surprisingly bulky, flip turn. Can be like toxic strats too. This thing definitely has its niche. I wouldn't rule it out in any capacity. Um, but I think I have ways to get through it where I don't have to worry about it too much. But like it's definitely a real Pokemon. A lot of times you see the last slot and it's kind of like, oh, it's just kind of there. But no, Tentacle is definitely something you see. There's a good chance you can see any of these mons. Like there's nothing here that I would rule out. I think Meganium might be the least likely, but like all of these mons have a strong chance of coming against me, and that's very scary. Now okay, let's jump into my team here. So that should be Sheer Force. First things first, we have AV Muck with Zebstrika, who likes to run special moves, Magmar, who can run special moves, Thievul, who runs special moves, Meganium, who runs special moves, and Samurott can also be special. He has a lot of special attackers, and AV Muck takes those hits surprisingly well. Like a +3 Thievul, like if he's Nasty Plot, Snarl, Throat Spray, like +3, that's doing like 40%. And then I can Drain Punch it all back. And if he tears, he tears, but right. Like that does nothing. And then like Zebstrika is even weaker on the special side, can't boost itself, so I'm just gonna eat those hits if it's special. Muck is just gonna sponge everything. We're sticky hold, so they can't get rid of my AV. And then we just have Shadow Sneak if I ever need to, like if the Thievul's running away and I need to kill it, I can kill it. Drain Punch to get health back, Knock is Knock, and then Gunk just for stab to hit things. Then we got Togedemaru. I thought about going Scarf TogeD, but I opted for Band instead. You'll notice there's no Iron Head. Usually I run dual stabs, but I wanted Spiky Shield for Pinsir. Um, because he knows I get U-turn, right? He knows that. So he's either going to expect to be faster because he's scarfed and go for something there, or he's going to try and like read a switch because I'm U-turn, and that way I can get some intel on if he's scarfed or not. And then also we have Spiky Shield to try, if I know he's scarfed, catch his move, go into something that can switch in, right? If it's EQ, go into Oricorio. If it's CC, go into Oricorio. If it's like Stone Edge, go into Marshtomp. But like, Togedemaru and Oricorio have really good synergy into this thing. It resists like pretty much everything it can have. So if I can read the move, I know he's scarfed, I can just go into the other Mon, which is really helpful. And then what's next? We have Fion. Choice Specs Fion. We are Terra Grass because water and ice kind of like rips this team apart. The only thing that stands in the way of that is Samurott. So having grass to hit that as well. And grass is also a very good defensive Terra. It stops Meganium from doing a bunch of stuff if I get to play mind games with him on the Magmar, right? Because he'll have Terra Preview, so he'll know I'm Terra Grass, and it becomes a coin flip. It's a Flare Blitz, it's a Thunder Punch, right? And that gets in his head, and that's always nice to do that. Yeah, and then just Surf Ice Beam hits like everything, and then Terra Blast to hit the few things that I can't hit otherwise, which is pretty much like just Samurott, but it's more so for the defensive capabilities that the Grass Terra gives me. Makes me immune to like powder moves if the Meganium's like Sleep Powder or something, which is really helpful. Then we have Rampardos. I've looked at the numbers. If I can get this thing 8 kills in the next 2 games, it becomes the kill leader and it'll get MVP. But I'm not going to try and play for that. Obviously, if it happens, that'll be sweet. But I care more about winning than about getting kills on Rampardos. So I'm not going to make any like brash plays, try and get in or anything like that. But standard, it's just a Scarf Rampardos. Like I said, it doesn't outspeed max speed. What's it called? Zebstrika. But I gave it, I think, with the Scarf, it's like 343, right? So if you're playing to beat Cryogonal, even if you go like one or two more for something, have like a wide berth to try and be faster than it if it's just going faster than cryo, which is very good. We're pretty much just clicking Stone Edge here. Like if I get into an end game situation, I have Fire Punch for Bronzor. I have EQ for some stuff that I might click EQ into, right? Zebstrika maybe that thing, Rhydon maybe, right? And the Brick Breaks here, if he wants to bring screens, I can get rid of them and keep the ball rolling. But the only problem with this is Brick Break has to kill whatever I'm clicking, otherwise Rampardos dies. But if I can get that kill with Brick Break and then just switch out and then get rid of the screens and that kind of stuff, that'll be good util to have. And it's better than putting some random move in the last slot that you're not really gonna click. Then we have Marshtomp. This is hopefully going to be the pincer answer, because this thing, I haven't looked at SD pincer, the calcs for that, but base pincer does like 30 to 40% with like X scissor and stuff. And especially like if I switch in on like a Stone Edge, and he's scarfed into it, right? That's resisted, and then I can throw off those liquidates. I also have like Toxic on this thing. Rocks, if I can get those up, will make the pincer like be a little more scared of me, a little more scared to come in and do all that kind of stuff, right? Which is really nice. This thing can also come in against Zebstrika. I just have to scout for Trailblaze. But even if like Trailblaze is only doing like 30-40%, so even if I don't scout for it, I can just EQ and he's basically dead. And then last but not least, we have Oricorio. Now this looks very similar to last week's set, and that's because it is. We're Rev Dance Air Slash Combine Roost, which I think I ran this in week 6. We are Wakan Berry because here's the plan, right? We use Togedemaru to scout the pincer. If we know he's scarfed and we know he's cooking a move that Oricorio is immune to, either close combat or EQ, we go into Oricorio, we take our Calm Mind, and then with Wakan Berry, we can live a hit from Zebstrika and we can Rev Dance it, which has a very high chance to kill. And if it's chipped, it's dead. Or Dancer, which is really good to bring because, like I said, D-Dance Altaria, and also, like, not that it really matters, but Swords Dance as well kind of gets deterred. Not that we have any physical moves, but, you always could. Like, Oricori's physical attack isn't that bad, and if you really want to risk giving it +2, I mean, its coverage is pretty terrible, but like you could be no item and then just spam acro, right? +2 acrobatics. So it's a little bit of a turn to that as well, but it's mainly, if we can catch like a D dance, that'd be awesome. We get +1 speed, and then we're going for a strange kind of similar way we played into the Absol, right? But we're trying to play into the Zebstrika instead. Yeah, so come in, kill Zebstrika. That's kind of the play with the Oricorio, and then also just having some immunities for Choice Scarf Pincer is really good. So that's going to be the team for this week. We're going to jump into battle pretty soon here, and then hopefully we'll see you next week for finals. But let's face the task at hand first. All right, see you fellas.